Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into something I find fascinating. How do master communicators take an idea, maybe even a simple one, and just, make it catch fire, turn it into a huge, lasting movement?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we're drawing a lot from Carmine Gallo's work, The Storyteller's Secret.
Yeah.
He looks at everyone from, TED speakers to CEOs like Steve Jobs.
Right, trying to figure out what they actually do, the secret sauce.
Exactly. And our mission here really is to give you a kind of shortcut to that persuasive power. We're trying to uncover those structural tricks and psychological insights they use.
To cut through all the noise we face every day, because there's just so much information.
There really is. And the number one takeaway, it jumps out immediately from all this research. Logic isn't enough. You can have the most brilliant data, the best plan, but if it's not wrapped in a story, it often just falls flat.
Okay, let's unpack that. Because it feels counterintuitive sometimes, right? Why wouldn't the best idea just win on its merits?
Well, that's where the neuroscience comes in. It's pretty clear on this. The core idea is you can't really get to someone's head, their analytical mind, without first going through the heart, the emotional core.
And that starts deep in the brain, doesn't it?
It does, with the amygdala. Think of it as the brain's bouncer or maybe security guard. It's scanning everything for relevance, for threat, for emotional significance.
So if your message doesn't trigger an emotional response?
The amygdala basically flags it as unimportant, noise, and it gets ignored. You didn't get past the guard.
Okay, so step one is engaging the emotion. How does telling a story actually do that chemically?
We're mainly talking about two key chemicals here. First up is dopamine. When you hear a really engaging story, especially one where you can picture a positive outcome like winning the lottery or achieving a goal,
Right.
your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. And that's not just pleasure, it actually helps tag that information for memory, makes it stick.
Ah, so it's like a neurological bookmark.
Exactly. And then there's oxytocin. This one's fascinating. It's often called the trust hormone or the empathy chemical. It gets released when we feel connection, kindness, trust.
So when a speaker shares something personal or tells a story that makes us feel connected,
They're literally fostering cooperation and empathy on a chemical level. It makes you want to align with their vision. It's key for building movements.
that really puts those ancient Kalahari storytellers into perspective.
Absolutely. They knew instinctively, didn't they, if the story wasn't engaging, if it wasn't entertaining.
People would just tune out, go to sleep.
Which is exactly the same problem we see with countless, dull PowerPoint presentations today. The brain hasn't changed that much. It craves engagement.
Okay, so emotion and chemistry are crucial. That leads us right into passion, doesn't it? And that legendary Steve Jobs story with John Scully.
Oh, yeah. Scully was, comfortable, successful at Pepsi. Big job. Jobs wants him for Apple. Scully says no, initially.
And then Jobs hits him with that killer line.
Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life? Or come with me and change the world?
Oof. Scully himself called it a punch to the solar plexus.
Right. It wasn't logical. It wasn't about salary or stock options. It hit Scully's sense of purpose, his identity. Jobs found the vulnerability.
That taps right into what visionary chef Fran Adria talks about, the one common trait in successful entrepreneurs.
Passion. Pure and simple.
Yeah, his analogy about wine is great. You see a drink.
But he sees the whole story. The vineyard, the sun, the family, the celebration.
That deep personal meaning in the details.
Exactly. And that passion often comes from overcoming struggle. Which brings us to vulnerability.
Right. It's not about pretending things were easy. It's about drawing strength from the hard stuff. Tony Robbins is a master at this.
He is. He talks very openly about his childhood growing up poor.
Yeah.
That story about his family getting a surprise Thanksgiving meal from strangers.
Yeah.
That specific personal memory. It creates such a powerful bond. And it directly fuels his massive philanthropic work. You believe it because you felt the origin.
J.K. Rowling did something similar in that famous Harvard speech. She framed her own failure perfectly.
She did. She laid out that classic 3-act structure using her own life, the triggering event, as she called her epic failure. 7 years after graduating divorced, jobless, a single parent, as low as you can get.
Wow.
Then the transformation. Realizing that failure stripped away everything that wasn't essential. It forced her to focus purely on writing.
And the life lesson.
That hitting rock bottom became the solid foundation she rebuilt her life on. It's incredibly resonant because everyone understands failure. It makes her success feel earned and relatable.
So passion and vulnerability provide the emotional core, but you need structure to make it actually stick, right? To make it work.
Absolutely. Structure is the engine.
Yeah.
And the first part of that is just grabbing attention. You have to break through the noise.
Violate expectations. The brain is wired for novelty.
Right. Routine gets ignored.
Yeah,
Something unexpected. The brain snaps to attention. And it actually makes the speaker seem more credible, interestingly enough.
Yeah. Like Bill Gates releasing mosquitoes during a talk about malaria.
Exactly. Or Cisco's CEO using that crazy telepresence tech to make an exec seem to beam in from 14,000 miles away.
Or Intel with that swarm of drones flying around the CEO. It's theater.
It is. It's creating a wow moment.
Yeah.
Something so unexpected it becomes unforgettable. It becomes the headline people remember.
Okay, so you've got their attention with a shock. How do you keep it and make the message memorable?
This is where those classic rhetorical trips come in, like the rule of three.
Ah, yes. Things in threes just sound right. More balanced, easier to remember.
Totally. Think about it. Jefferson, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Pope Francis, prayer, fasting, and charity. It just clicks in the brain.
It feels complete somehow.
It does. And for longer narratives, you have things like the Pixar 7-step structure. Hollywood perfected this stuff. It's literally designed to get you rooting for the hero.
Can we quickly frame a real story with that, like Malala Yousafzai?
Sure, easily. Let's try it. Once upon a time, there was a young girl in Pakistan. Every day, she loved going to school. Until one day, extremists took over her town.
Right.
Because of that, girls were banned from education, and she was targeted for speaking out. Because of that, she was attacked, but survived. Until finally, she recovered and decided to fight for all children's education.
And ever since then, she's become a global symbol of courage and advocate for education. Wow.
See, it takes this huge, complex global issue and makes it instantly personal, relatable, hero, struggle, transformation in seconds.
And that speed is crucial now. Our attention spans, they're not what they used to be.
Not even close. Research shows the average attention span plummeted, like from 12 minutes down to maybe 5 minutes just in the decade social media really took off.
So you've got seconds, really. Videos, maybe 60, 90 seconds max.
Ideally, yeah. Brevity is absolutely key. Yeah. Which brings us back to Steve Jobs. He was the king of this.
The Twitter-friendly headline.
Exactly. He didn't drown you in specs for the MacBook Air. He just said,
the world's thinnest notebook? Boom, 32 characters.
Tells you everything you need to know, the core benefit, instantly.
Yeah.
Or the iPod.
Not a 5-gigabyte hard drive. It was 1,000 songs in your pocket.
Simple, tangible, benefit-driven. It paints a picture.
Yeah.
But getting to that simplicity, that's hard work.
As Jobs himself said, right? Simple can be harder than complex. You have to really clarify your thinking.
You do. You have to hide all the messy complexity behind that elegant, human-centric story.
And these stories, they're not just for selling products. They're absolutely fundamental to building strong company cultures.
Oh, definitely. There's this crucial difference the sources talk about. Are you just a retailer with a mission statement? Or are you actual missionaries who happen to retail?
The missionaries inspire real loyalty beyond just the job description.
Think about that Whole Foods story. After that big flood wiped out an early store,
customers and staff just showed up with mops for free.
Yeah, because they believed in the company's larger purpose, that story about food and the planet. It wasn't just about selling groceries.
If you don't have that core narrative, that why, then loyalty is thin, especially when things get tough.
For sure. And Southwest Airlines, under Herb Kelleher, he built the entire company culture on stories. He used to say competitors could copy the planes, the routes, everything physical.
But they couldn't copy the culture, the spirit.
Exactly. And that spirit was reinforced by stories, like the one about the pilot whose son died suddenly.
Kelleher didn't just send condolences. He scrambled a plane, flew the pilot home immediately.
That story gets told and retold. So we care about you as a person. That builds fierce loyalty you can't just buy.
Okay, so stepping back, looking at the whole picture. What's the main takeaway for someone listening right now?
I think it boils down to this. Simplify your message. Find your genuine passion, connect to it, and then structure your experiences, your ideas, into a story that resonates emotionally.
Because movement's real change, it doesn't start with the tools, does it? It starts with the story.
Precisely. Look at the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. We remember the buckets, the viral aspect.
The tool.
Right. But Gallo argues the reason it worked, the reason it caught fire, was Pete Frates. He shared his personal, specific, devastating reality of living with ALS. Losing his strength, his voice, that raw vulnerability, that specific human story, that was the spark. The ice bucket was just the amplifier.
Without the specific story, the tool is empty.
Exactly. Which leads us to that final, really provocative idea for you to think about, the incredible power of specificity.
Ah, the Mohammed El-Arian story.
Yeah.
The CEO who quit his massive job at PMCO.
Yeah, and it wasn't because his daughter gave him some vague lecture about work-life balance. That's easy to dismiss.
No, she gave him a list.
A list, a specific, concrete, 22-item list of all the important moments in her life he had missed because of work.
First day of school, Halloween parade, soccer games.
Exactly. That level of concrete detail. It was devastating, unanswerable. It created a crisis of purpose that a general complaint never could have.
So the challenge for you, as you think about your next pitch, your next presentation, your next big idea, ask yourself, what are the specific, concrete, maybe even slightly uncomfortable details from your experience, your product, your vision? What are those details that will make your story not just heard, but felt, make it utterly irresistible and impossible to forget?